Welcome back to the Annie Frey Show. Happy Monday. Hope you had a great weekend celebrating this incredible country. And the thing that's the greatest about celebrating a country like the United States is that our past is incredible, but our hope in the future is even more incredible. So hopefully you felt joy all weekend, and let's just keep that energy up and keep it going. Let's bring on our next guest, candidate for Minnesota Senator, United States Senator Michele Tafoya. Michele, thank you for being with us here today. It's so great to have you back on the show.
Always good to talk with you. Thanks for having me.
Of course. I want to give you the opportunity to tell us, how did you celebrate Independence Day? How are you continuing to celebrate the semi-quincentennial?
I tell you what, I don't want it to end. We marched in parades all weekend. I covered 3 different areas of Minnesota, walking in parades, watching all the people celebrating, interacting with voters and concerned citizens of Minnesota who have a lot to be concerned about, given the Democrat trifecta we've had here, sort of the one-party rule that has really hurt our state. So we were interacting with those people. But I will tell you that I was home in time to watch a lot of the goings-on all over the country, just that was televised, and it was inspiring. And I don't get on social media a lot these days, but I decided to go look, and just seeing some of the former players I used to cover in the NFL just cheering on the USA. It was great to see. It seemed like people really were in the spirit of things.
Yeah, and this is in the midst of a lot of big stories developing in our country. Last week, of course, with Supreme Court rulings, we saw quite a few things that were defining for our country. One of them is that those states that have ruled that boys can't play in girls' sports, the Supreme Court said, yeah, those are good laws. Unfortunately, though, Michele, I live in the state of Illinois. In Illinois, girls don't have those rights right now. I wondered your thoughts as somebody who's been so closely attached to athletics and sports and a defender of girls who play. What were your thoughts on the ruling last week?
Well, I think we were all thrilled and it felt like a victory. But you're right. There are still a number of states, yours included, and Minnesota included, that allow for boys to compete against girls. And this is so... there's so many, I've talked about this so much, Annie, and you know this, that this is just so not right. We have Title IX for a reason. Women first fought for the vote. Then they fought to say, hey, can we have equal opportunities for sports here in our schools? And now you're seeing that opportunity getting shaved away at by boys who want to compete on these teams. And it's just absolutely wrong. There's no other way to say it. It's unfair, it's unsafe, it's wrong. And so there are still a number of states that need to be challenged. The good news is there is precedent now that was set down by that Supreme Court ruling, and the states like Illinois, like Minnesota, who are going to get sued. Trust me, they're going to get sued, and they're not going to be able to hide behind their own laws anymore, because the Supreme Court laid this down and set a very clear signal. So I think it's a matter of time. But you know what? We need to stand up for these girls. Where have the adults in the room been?
Yeah, amen to that. Men and women alike. This isn't an issue that is, gendered in who should defend these girls who want to compete fairly.
No,
everybody should stand up.
Correct. And I've actually been disappointed by a number of women's groups, professional athletes, both male and female, who have stayed out of this and it just didn't want to risk their brand or whatever the case may be. Come on now. Let's remember how you got started, Megan Rapinoe. Let's remember what happened when you played a boys' high school team, Megan Rapinoe. It's just not a fair fight. And so, it's been really disappointing, and I have applauded people like Martina Navratilova and others who have stood up and said, come on, let's not be silly here.
Yeah. Michele Tafoya is speaking with us right now. My understanding is that the Save America Act addresses some of these issues, and you going into the United States Senate would potentially have influence, if something like this were to come up after you were elected and taken your seat in the United States Senate on behalf of Minnesotans. How do you feel about the Save America Act and maybe some federal legislation that actually does protect all girls in all 50 states?
I think it's appropriate. I mean, look, we give a lot of the states have sovereignty. They have a lot of their own power to make their own rules about things, their own laws. But this one is so universal. At the same time, I don't know that we're going to need it because my hope is that all of these states get challenged. But I would support it as a senator. I would support federal law making this a nationwide issue. And similarly with just voting. Listen, we produce our ID for so many things, our proof of citizenship for so many things. The only people who should be voting in our elections are American citizens. That is not just isolated to the United States of America. That is true in every country. I don't get to go visit Paris and then vote in the French elections. and look, so this is so simple and so basic. And again, it's one of those 80-20, if not 90-10 issues that I think everyone agrees with. If you ask them the raw question, do you think you should have to present ID when you vote? And do you think only American citizens should be able to vote in our elections? It's hard for anyone to see how you could answer anything, but yeah, you should have to present an ID. What is wrong with that?
Exactly.
So this is really basic stuff, and yet the opposition will try to make you think that somehow someone is getting oppressed or being forbidden to vote by this. It's absolutely untrue.
Yeah, make common sense common again. Quickly before we let you go,
Yes.
Michele Tafoya with us right now. You're running for the retiring Democratic Senator Tina Smith's seat. It's the seat that belongs to the Minnesota constituents there. How's the campaign going, and how can people here in the St. Louis greater area support you?
You know what? It's so nice of you to ask that. It's going really well, and we are moving right along. Our primary is August 11th. We will take donations as small as you want to give to as large as you are legally able to give at MicheleTafoya.com, Michele. So there's one L in Michelle, but even if you spell it wrong, you'll probably get there. Tafoya, Tafoya, MicheleTafoya.com. You can follow us on all our socials and get redirected there, but we would love to have any and all support. This is common sense versus crazy time in America. And if we don't get common sense into the Senate, and hold on to that Senate, by the way, folks, we need to keep a Republican hold on that Senate for all of the good things that have happened to stay in place and to prevent some irrational stuff from happening. That's why I'm stepping forward. That's why I'm doing this. It is a sacrifice worth making, and I'm committed to getting there. So we'll take all the help we can get, Annie, and I so appreciate you giving me that opportunity to say so.
100%. It would be such a pleasure to watch you take that Senate seat in Minnesota. As an Illinoisan who has very little hope for our senators here, Missouri's doing just fine in the Senate department. We'd love to see Minnesota make a common sense decision and choose better this coming election. Michele Tafoya, thank you for the time today. It's an honor to have you with us.
Oh, it's always good to talk to you. Thank you so much.
Take care. Bye-bye.